Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Midwest Sound, an Indiana show choir podcast brought to you by Homeroom Show Choir. If you haven't checked them out, they have tons of show choir resources. They have rankings. They have just tons of really cool posts and information that is really interesting to listen to, and it's from all over the country. So if you haven't checked them out, go do that. Also, the Midwest Sound Instagram is running if you guys want to go follow that, as well as the Midwest Sound YouTube channel. So if you have friends or family that want to listen to the podcast, but maybe they don't have Spotify and maybe they listen to music through some other streaming service, it's on YouTube, available for free, and I'm pretty sure anyone can get an account on there. So yes, that is just one other way that you can listen to the podcast. I had multiple people reach out to me over the weekend, which was really cool, especially over the past 2 weeks. It's been really cool. Also, if you see me just kind of looking side to side throughout this episode, I'm just looking at the results on my computer, so I'm just going to be all over the place. Also, just something I want to give you guys a life update about, I guess. I went to Chicago over the weekend, which was so fun. It was great. But I got to see The Outsiders on at the Cadillac Palace Theater, which is just the traveling Broadway group. Y'all, I already knew I liked this musical. I listened to the soundtrack when it came out 2 summers ago, I think. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I followed all of the TikToks and the Instagram and everything, and I was pretty updated on all the information. But obviously it's really hard to go from Indiana to New York to watch a Broadway show. So I wasn't ever able to watch it live. But my parents surprised me with a trip to go see it this weekend in Chicago, and let me tell you, it was amazing. It was so good. It was so good. And as most of you guys know, I am currently attending college to become a music educator and hopefully one day be a show choir director. And let me tell you, don't be surprised when you see a song from The Outsiders in one of my future show choir shows. Great Expectations as a ballad. Are you kidding me? Or Little Brother. Oh my god. Whew. That'd be so good, guys. Okay. That was all. But quick overview for today. We had 6 competitions in Indiana this past weekend. We had Franklin Community, Ben Davis, Center Grove, DeKalb, Northridge, and South Dearborn. So I'm going to be talking about the results from all of those. Some really interesting results, some pretty expected results. So we'll just kind of break everything down a little bit. Then this weekend we have 4 competitions in Indiana, so things are starting to slow down just a little bit. I mean, we're getting to the end of February, so people are starting to kind of taper off their season, or they're taking breaks to improve and then eventually attending some sort of nationals competition. So we're seeing a little bit less of some of these schools going out, but still a big weekend for Indiana. I think this weekend will be sort of expected. I think things are going to turn out how most people feel they will, I guess. But this weekend we have the Franklin Central Hoosier Show Choir Classic. We've Huntington North, we've got Lafayette Jeff, and we have Mooresville. So 4 competitions. I'm going to be going over the lineups for those, as well as finals, and just who I think is going to win. So yeah, that's just a quick overview, and I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. Okay, so today I'm going to begin with the Ben Davis Giant Spectacular. So, results from this competition. In the large mixed division, grand champion with best vocals, best visuals, and best band went to Castle Night Sensations. First runner-up went to Lawrence Central Sound, and third runner-up went to Edgewood Music Warehouse. Then in the small mixed division, first place with best vocals and best visuals went to Mooresville Spotlighters, and second place went to Kokomo Charisma Singers. Then in the large treble division, first place with best vocals and best visuals went to Castle Nightingales. Second place went to Edgewood Sophisticated Ladies. Third place with best band went to Lawrence Central Suites. In the Small treble division, best vocals, best visuals went to Mooresville Finesse. It was the only group competing. In the prep division, best vocals, best visuals went to Edgewood Vocal Odyssey, the only group competing. And then the middle school division, first place with best vocals went to Riverside Golden Harmony. Second place with best visuals and best band went to Edgewood Mini Warehouse. And third place went to Edgewood Sophisticates. The reason I am talking about middle school is because I actually had a fan reach out and say that I should start possibly talking about the junior high division. So I'm not necessarily going to predict placements just because that's not really my area of expertise, I guess you could say. I don't know a ton about middle school. I know a lot about Edgewood's middle school, but I am going to go ahead and just read off top 3 from the middle school division, if there are that many, just because, like, they deserve some recognition too. I mean, they're putting in the work, let me tell you. So let's talk about this a little bit. In the large mixed division, Castle taking Grand Champ. I did say Castle is probably going to take it. They're consistently really good. Taking best band, not surprising. I love their arrangements, and they just really know how to make the audience like get involved in their show, even though normally they don't have a story. It's just a general theme. They do pretty basic show choir shows. Their band is really good at getting you invested, or getting you hype at least, and they do a lot of ripples in their choreo. So yeah, that's just something that they're clean though. The ripples are clean, so that scores them pretty well in the visuals category. Lawrence Central Sound taking second. Not super surprising. They did have best soloists, which let me tell you, those kids can sing. I mean, they're really good. I think maybe one of the problems this group faces is it's a group of soloists rather than a group of singers. And I think a lot of groups maybe sometimes struggle with this, where it's a group of solo singers. They sound really, really good individually, but they don't always mesh super well. And I think that's something that can be fixed, but it takes time, and it takes a lot of cooperation and listening from the group itself and the kids in the group. So it is definitely hard to achieve. Third place going to Edgewood Music Warehouse, my school, my high school that I went to. Not surprising. I think I can kind of leave that there. Small mixed division, Mooresville taking first. They've had a really great season so far. I'm sure they're just excited that they're placing this well. Best vocals, best visuals, they swept. I'm excited for them. I mean, we haven't heard a ton from Mooresville the past couple years, and I'm just glad that they're getting a little bit more recognition this season. In the large treble division, Castle Nightingales, not surprising really here either. They're normally pretty strong in their vocals, I guess. Choreographically, they aren't as strong as the mixed group from their high school, but they're still pretty good. I remember when I watched them in high school a couple times, they definitely use a lot of skirtography. They usually wear pretty long skirts, and I know that Center Grove sometimes does this, where they wear long skirts, and I don't know if this is just to get the effect of dancing with your skirt, or if it's because maybe they're hiding a little bit of footwork to gain points. I'm not quite sure, but either way, it normally looks pretty good. Edgewood taking second, not anything crazy. Lawrence Central Suites taking third, also not super crazy. Everything else is basically as expected. The next competition I'm going to talk about is the DeKalb Choir Festival. So this competition did have finals. I'm looking at prelims right now, and they did have prelims placements, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about those, but I'm going to begin with the treble division because treble did not have finals. So in the treble division, first place with best vocals and best visuals went to Northrop Allure. Second place went to Columbia City Lights. Whoa. Third place with best band went to Huntington North Viking Volume. Fourth went to New Prairie Sing Sensation. And then there were 4 unplaced groups, that being East Noble Premier Edition, Fairfield Expressions, Southside Soundwaves, and Southmont Sudden Impulse. Then in the small mixed prelims, first place with best visuals, best band, best crew went to Huntington North Varsity Singers. Second with best vocals went to Columbia City Heat. Third went to Churubusco New Era. Fourth went to Garrett Encore. And then 3 groups that were unplaced in prelims were East Noble Night Rhythms, Fairfield Fusion, and Burst Lab Parliament Sound. Then in the large mixed division in prelims, first place with best vocals, best visuals, best band, best crew went to Findlay First Edition, and second went to Northrop Charisma. And then they ended up taking 5 mixed finalists. So, grand champion sweeping every single category. Best vocals, best visuals, best band, best crew, People's Choice went to Findlay First Edition. First runner-up went to Northrop Charisma. Second runner-up went to Huntington North Varsity Singers. Third runner-up went to Columbia City City Heat. And fourth runner-up went to Churubusco New Era. So looking at this from prelims to finals, actually not really anything interesting happened. It was the exact same. I know that probably point placements changed up, but I mean everyone stayed in the same place. That even in group size, like Findlay was in large, then Northrop was in large, and then Huntington North was top of the small division, and then Columbia City was second, and then Churubusco. So not anything super crazy. I think I did say that I think Findlay was gonna get GC. I did, and they did, and they completely swept. And I think that's really exciting for them, just because I heard like they're actually doing really well. Also, they traveled from Ohio to get here, which, I mean, that's exciting whenever you travel out of state and you're able to totally sweep. Like, that's really exciting. So I think just a fun competition. Also interesting to see a lot of these Fort Wayne area schools place lower than maybe in an Ohio school. And I know that generally Fort Wayne schools are, how do I phrase this? Because I don't want it to be demeaning. I do not mean it in that way. I think generally Fort Wayne schools are smaller and they don't place as well whenever they compete outside of Fort Wayne. And that's normally because they're smaller groups. It also is just, I mean, I think the one exception to this might be Carroll. Carroll travels a lot outside of Fort Wayne and they normally do pretty well. But every other group, they normally don't place super well. But it's really interesting to see a group from out of the state even come in and place above all of these Fort Wayne schools in their own, like, Fort Wayne competition, you know? But no, I mean, an exciting win for Findlay, and I mean, everything else kind of turned out how I thought it would. So not anything crazy here. The next competition I'm going to talk about is the South Dearborn Opening Night Showcase. So they did have finals. They took 5 finalists from any division, just top 5 scores overall. I'm looking at prelims right now, and they did have prelims placements, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that. In the middle school division, first place with best vocals and best choreo went to Loveland Revolution, second went to Ross Next Generation, and third went to West Jessamine Crescendo. Then in the treble division, first place with best vocals and best choreography went to Loveland Allure. Second place went to Marion Harding Singers Extreme, which is a bass group. Third place went to Anderson Starlighters, and fourth place went to West Jessamine Fortissima. Then, in the small mix division, first place with best vocals and best choreography went to Anderson Singers Unlimited. Second place went to West Jessamine Duly Noted. Third place went to Austin Dimensions. And fourth place went to Anderson Prep Vocal Velocity. Just a quick shout out to Austin Dimensions taking their first placement of the season with their first season back, which is really exciting. Then in the large mixed division prelims, first place with best vocals, best choreography, and best band went to Loveland by Request. Second place went to Ross Legacy. Third went to Lebanon Charisma. And fourth went to Marion Harding Singers. Then, top 5 groups that made it to finals in order. Grand champion with best vocals, best choreography, and best band was Loveland by Request. First runner-up was Ross Legacy. Yay, Ross. Second runner-up was Loveland Allure, which is Loveland's treble group. Third runner-up was Marion Harding Singers. And fourth runner-up was Lebanon Charisma. So, really not anything crazy. I mean, I think one of the main things to point out is Ross Legacy taking second over Loveland's treble group, as well as Marion Harding Singers and Lebanon Charisma. Some of these groups competing in the large division, and Ross, I mean, I believe they had upper 30s, mid 30s. But yeah, I mean, an exciting win for Loveland, totally sweeping. And once again, Paxton Murs taking that Best Bass Soloist award. He's on a roll. Paxton went to FCA with me a couple years ago, or was it this past year? I mean, he's been every year that I've been there, but one of the years he was in my group, I think it was my first year there. I mean, I've been 3 years now, so who even knows? But I mean, not anything crazy happening at this competition. I mean, it was about as expected. I did predict Loveland would win. They did. They're pretty consistent this year. They're doing pretty well. Their show is really solid. I'd say it's better than these past couple years, so hopefully they're on the rise again. But I mean, yeah, not anything crazy. South Dearborn's usually kind of predictable, and not in a bad way, just a lot of the same groups go every year. So I think Marion Harding is one of the new faces at this competition, so that's exciting. And other than that, yeah, just kind of what was expected. So the next competition is the Northridge Choral Invitational. So they did also have finals here. They took 5 finalists as well as 3 treble finalists. They didn't have any prelims placements though, so I can't really talk about that. But yeah, finals. So let's start with treble. In the treble finals, grand champion with best vocals and best choreography was Carmel Accents. First runner-up was Carroll Select Sound, and second runner-up with best band was the Chesterton Drifters. Then in the mixed division finals, grand champion with best vocals and best choreography was the Carmel Ambassadors. First runner-up was Carroll Magic. Second runner-up with best crew was Chesterton Sandpipers. Third runner-up with best band was Homestead Class Royale. And fourth runner-up was Bishop Dwenger Summit Sound. So that is exciting. Not anything crazy here either. I think this was probably one of the most predictable competitions of the weekend. Carmel taking grand champ, sweeping most of the divisions. I mean, not super surprising. Carmel's really solid. This is one of their good years. Carroll Magic taking second. I mean, they're really good, but they don't have everything that it would take to beat Carmel. Just because Carmel is probably second in the state, if I had to guess. And, I mean, they're just really good. So, Carroll is really good, and they're trying their best. So first runner-up with Carroll. Chesterton taking third. Also not super surprising. Chesterton is consistently a pretty good, like, really well-scoring group. They just don't always have the sound to overtake a lot of these larger groups. So I think third probably would fit them in this competition. Homestead taking fourth. Not anything super crazy. Bishop Dwenger taking fifth. Also not anything crazy. Taking a look at the groups that didn't make it to finals, the mixed groups, the 2 groups didn't make it to finals. It was Bishop Lore's Minstrels and Wawasee Warriors Songscapes, which is, I'm sure, a little bit disappointing. And then taking a look at the treble groups that did not make finals. Only one group didn't make it, and it was Homestead Elite, which... I mean, it does reflect the large mixed division or just mixed finals in general. I mean, it reflects the top 3. It's Carmel, Carroll, and Chesterton. And I think that also might just have to do with school size. And I wouldn't necessarily say location, but maybe just like their history and how they normally compete against some of these other groups. So, I mean, I think everyone would have predicted that Carmel was going to win, and they did. So, I mean, yeah, not a super crazy competition. These first 4 competitions that I've went through, not a lot surprising has happened, but these next 2 I think are a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Franklin Community Show Fest. This competition did not have finals. It was a one and done, but it's a really telling competition. So let's go ahead and go through it. In the large mixed division, grand champion with best vocals, best choreography, and best band was Lafayette Jefferson First Edition. Yeah. I did predict that they would win. I did say it might be a split caption, but no, Lafayette Jeff swept. So, also, I did learn they are not even a group in the 30s. I think that I was told they have 28 members, which is crazy that they're able to take vocals from some of these huge groups like Franklin Central, and they're able to sweep over the first runner-up at this competition, Beaver Creek Friends, which is a pretty large group. They are from Ohio, but they're really good. I saw them at Edgewood Contest of Champions, and I really enjoyed their show. A lot of people that I talked to didn't love it just because there were two haunted house themed shows at this competition. It was Hurricane and Beaver Creek, and a lot of people were just kind of bored of it by the time we got through Hurricane. But I really liked Beaver Creek's show. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, first runner-up was Beaver Creek Friends. Then second runner-up was Pendleton Heights Pendletones. Then in the small mixed division, first place with best vocals was Columbus North Vocal Point. Yes! Yay! Again, not sweeping, but taking first place in their division. Yes, I see you. Columbus North, I believe, is just going to continue to rise. I think they really are. They're hitting their stride, and they're just going to keep getting better. And I really think that they could take the place of maybe a school like Pendleton in the small division. I know Pendleton competed in large at this competition, but I truly do think that they could outplace a lot of these groups that have been, some of the top contenders, I guess, in the small division. I think the small division is one of the most movable, one of the most transitive divisions in show choir, just because it's always changing. If you have a small school, you never know what you're going to get. You could get tons of kids one year and then you could lose half of them the next, So I think that's really exciting for Columbus North. Second place, taking best choreography and best band, was Whiteland Community Rhythm Masters. Yes, also another one of my favorite small schools. Third place went to Pike Encores, and then we had 6 groups that did not place. Decatur Central Goldenaires, Warren Central Connection, Beech Grove Jubilaires, Owen Valley The Valley Soundwaves, Pendleton Heights Added Attraction, and Monrovia Shooting Stars. Then, in the large treble division, first place with best vocals and a best choreography tie, as well as best band, went to Lafayette Jefferson Expressions. Second place with best choreography tie was Columbus North Stars, and third place was Pendleton Heights Emerald Suites. You heard that right. Pendleton Heights Emerald Suites took third. Yeah, taking a look at their record for this year, they have placed first at Fishers and first at Chesterton. Then they took a third at this competition. Yeah. Pendleton Emerald Suites are consistently probably one of the top, if not the top, small division treble group, just because their vocals are really strong. Choreographically, they're normally pretty clean. It's never anything super interesting, but it is clean, and that scores well. And it's really interesting to see a group like Columbus North Stars and Lafayette Jefferson Expressions, who don't always score the best or place the best at some of their competitions. It's interesting to see them place above Pendleton. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But in the small treble division, first place went to Warren Central Highlights. Second place with best choreography went to Whiteland Community Expressions, and third place with best vocals and best band went to Pike Mystiques, as well as 2 unplaced groups being Decatur Central Expressions and Pendleton Heights New Edition. So interesting to see first place Warren Central winning captionless, second place taking best choreo, and third place taking best vocals and best band. I don't really see how this can happen. I can, but I don't. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically it for this competition. Let's go back to the whole Pendleton Heights Emerald Suites thing. They have consistently been the best small treble group in Indiana. And I think it's really cool to see some of these groups like Columbus North Stars, who obviously their counterpart, their mixed group, is having a phenomenal year. But North Stars isn't always counted into that conversation, I think, just as a lot of treble groups are never really counted into the conversation, in my opinion. But we don't have to get into that. But I think it's really cool to see a group like Columbus North finally get some of their flowers. And Lafayette Jefferson Expressions, you never hear about them. Really all you hear about Lafayette Jeff is First Edition, which is their mixed group. But Expressions are always kind of left in the dust. I think a lot can be said for a lot of these small schools. it's like a double whammy, you know? You're from a small school and you're a treble group. No one's going to talk about you, you know? And I think it's really cool to see Lafayette Jefferson Expressions follow in the footsteps of Lafayette Jeff First Edition. Obviously, if you have a great mixed group, you should probably have a great treble group as well, you know? And so it's really cool to see Expressions finally also getting some praise, getting some recognition, taking first with a choreo tie with Columbus North, who is also finally getting some recognition, placing really well. I mean, we can take a look at these groups' seasons so far. Looking at Expressions from Lafayette Jefferson, they took third place at Homestead. They did make it to finals, but I mean, not anything crazy. Looking at Columbus North, they've taken 2 third place spots, and then they didn't place at Fishers. So I just think it's really cool to see some of these groups getting better as the year goes on, but also just like finally being like, hey, I'm here and we matter and we're just as important as some of these mixed groups. And not to take away from a mixed group, but I think a treble group can be just as interesting and fun to watch as a mixed group, you know? A lot of people prefer mixed group visuals and sound, more specifically sound and vocals, just because it does sound a little bit more blended and full, just because you have that the bass and the baritone and the tenor underneath everything, so it fills it out a little bit more. But if you do a treble group correctly, then it can be a million times more intricate and detailed than any other kind of group, you know? And I just think that's really, really important to point out. And hopefully, eventually, if I do become a director, I'll be able to make sure that no treble group is ever overlooked. You know, it really is sad whenever they don't get like attention. And I think the way the world is may play a little bit into that, you know, just because like, oh, a mixed group has guys in it. And we all know what that means. But either way, I think it's just super important to see some of these treble groups improving and getting recognition and placing higher than they normally do. And it's just really great to see some of these rankings, or where you would expect some of these groups to place, to see them be broken out of, you know, to see some of these new groups rise. And I think that this season, I think the 2026 season is going to prove to a lot of people that things are changing. Groups are getting better. Groups are getting worse. I know in the large division, it's a little bit harder to move around just because of how big schools are and how well funded they are, that it's a little bit harder for them to shift in position, but they still are. And I think even more so the small division, it's kind of been pretty stagnant for the last couple years. I mean, this is the 4th year of the podcast, and I feel like especially over the last 2 years of season 2 and season 3, it was just a lot of announcing the same people over and over again, like groups like Roncalli and Pendleton. But finally, we're getting some new faces into the bigger show choir scene, and I'm just so happy. I don't know. I'm glad things are getting shaken up, and I'm ready and excited for change, and I'm sure these groups are too. So that's my mini rant. Sorry, but we're gonna move on to Center Grove Best of the Midwest, which was arguably one of the biggest competitions of the weekend. It was a one and done, so you're probably like, what do you mean? Why was it one of the biggest? Just listen to this lineup. So, in the large mixed division, grand champion with best vocals and best band went to Franklin Central FC Singers, which I did say that they were gonna win, so yay. First runner-up went to North Central Counterpoints. Second runner-up with Best Choreography went to Oak Mountain Singers, who are from Alabama. And then third runner-up was Fisher's Electrum. Then in the small mixed division, first place with Best Vocals and Best Choreography went to Roncalli Royal Rhapsody. Second place went to New Palestine Crimson Heat. Yes, New Palestine, I see you. Third place went to Franklin Central Encores. Fourth went to Batesville Singers. Fifth, the Best Crew, went to Winfield General Admission. Sixth went to Shelbyville Synergy, and seventh went to Greenfield Central Legacy. Then In the large treble division, first place with best vocals and best choreography went to Franklin Central High Voltage. Second place went to Fisher's Sound. Third place went to Oak Mountain The Muses. And fourth went to North Central Deskins. And finally, in the small treble division, first place with best vocals and best choreography went to Winfield Emerald Elegance. This is exciting. Second place went to Cathedral Irish Adrenaline. Third place went to New Palestine Diamond Sensations. And then 3 unplaced groups were North Central Accents, Fisher's Accents, and Franklin Central Flight. So let's talk about it. Let's start with the large mixed division. Franklin Central FC Singers taking best vocals. Not surprising, although earlier in the season, Lafayette Jeff did take best vocals from them. So I think everyone was sort of expecting them to take the best choreography caption and vocals maybe go to someone else. But, still an exciting win for them. North Central taking second over Oak Mountain and Fishers, officially proving that they are not to be messed with this season. I heard a lot of reviews from some of my fellow Homeroom Show Choir members saying that North Central is back, and I think that's super exciting. I mean, North Central never really fell off. They've always been in the Power 5 of Indy, I think, but it's cool to see them like really making a comeback. I really enjoyed their show. I mean, I reviewed it in the last episode, and I just think it was really fun, Oak Mountain Singers taking third with best choreography. Surprising to see this sort of, a lot of competitions this weekend. It was surprising to see some of these captions being spread out among the division, Traveling from Alabama, I'm sure that they were able to take at least a caption. Taking third, not disappointing, especially with a lineup like this. It's going to be hard. And I heard that their show was really, really good. But, it's still third. So, no, but I saw a snippet of their show, and it's really good. Like, they sounded really amazing. And I think that also can be attributed to Center Grove's sound system. And sorry, not the group sound system, but their stage's sound system. Sorry. I didn't even mean to make that joke, but no, like their microphones and their system of sound in the auditorium. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up. That's like the stupidest joke ever. That was dumb. But Fisher's Electrum getting fourth, I know. I usually really enjoy their shows, and I like watching them. I haven't seen them this year, and I'm hoping to eventually see them. But moving on to the small mixed division, Roncalli taking first. Not surprising at all, really. That is one of the groups that's probably the dominating small mixed group, I'd have to say. New Palestine taking second, though, is interesting. I think New Palestine is really like on a roll this year. I haven't heard a ton about them these past couple years, but Plainfield they took second, Center Grove they've taken second. They're going to be doing at least 4 more competitions looking at their schedule right now on showchoir.com. But exciting for them. I think the small division kind of turned out basically how I thought it would. I did think that Shelbyville would place a little bit higher, but still not anything crazy. The treble division, Franklin Central outplaced Fisher Sound. Fisher Sound has been recognized as one of, if not the best treble groups in the country. They were the best in Indiana. Last year they were outplaced, and now this year it's looking like maybe they're kind of falling off. And obviously not falling off like crazy, because they still got second in a competition like this, but still, Franklin Central outplaced them and totally swept the captions. Franklin Central is really proving themselves this year. Carmel is really proving themselves. They always do. Center Grove is. Lafayette Jefferson. But, it's just cool to see them sweep. I'm over the past couple years at least, they haven't really gotten the chance to do that a ton, especially going up against a group like Fisher Sound, but being able to do that this year, I'm sure is super exciting for them. Then in the small treble division, Winfield Emerald Elegance taking first place. Okay, Winfield, I see you. They have won grand champion at every competition they went to this year. At Nitro, they took best vocals and best choreo. At Polka, they took best vocals and best choreo, and they also at Center Grove just now took best vocals and best choreo. So they are seriously on a roll this year. I haven't heard a ton about them these past couple of years. They are from West Virginia, so this was a traveling competition for them, and I'm sure it was really exciting to be able to win a division like this. I mean, we had Irish Adrenaline, who is one of the rising, I guess you could say, small treble groups in Indiana at the moment. They have pretty good vocals for the size that they are, and I think it's cool that Winfield was able to take a win over them. And other than that, I mean, that's basically it for Center Grove Best in the Midwest. But yeah, a fun competition. I really wish I could have been there. And that is it for this past weekend in Indiana. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the upcoming competitions. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the upcoming weekend's competitions. Like I said earlier, we have 4 competitions. We have the Franklin Central Hoosier Show Choir Classic, we have the Huntington North Midwest Showcase, the Lafayette Jefferson Extreme Show Choir Showdown, and the Mooresville Spotlighter Invitational. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Huntington North Midwest Showcase. This competition is going to take 3 treble and 5 mixed finalists. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the large mixed division. In this division, there's going to be Northridge Northern Lights, Noblesville NHS Singers, Northrop Charisma, and Homestead Class Royale. Then in the medium mixed division, there will be DeKalb Classic Connection, Churubusco New Era, and Jay County Patriot Edition. And then in the small mixed division, there will be Crestview Night Vision, Kokomo Charisma Singers, Belmont Brave Generation, Bishop Dwenger Summit Sound, and Columbia City City Heat. Then in the treble division, there will be Northrop Allure, Northridge Starlights, Noblesville Sensation, Homestead Elite, Jay County Just Treble, Noblesville New Dimension, Westfield Illumination, and Columbia City City Lights. So, lots of groups attending this competition. This is another Fort Wayne competition, so lots of just Fort Wayne area schools attending. As I said, they'll be taking 3 treble and 5 mixed finalists, and I do think that the grand champion of this competition is probably going to go to Noblesville NHS Singers, and I think there's a possibility of a split caption with Homestead Class Royale, but not super sure. I mean, it's either going to be Noblesville Sweep or Noblesville with split caption to Homestead, possibly. But yeah, that's about it for this competition. The next competition I'm going to talk about briefly is the Lafayette Jefferson Extreme Show Choir Showdown. This competition doesn't have a lineup posted yet, but I do, from my inside resources, it's not anything crazy. It's just, I do know some of the groups that are attending. You can look on showchoir.com. It's literally in the comments. But tentatively attending right now is Edgewood, North Central, Franklin Community, Lawrence North, Southmont, Decatur Central, Anderson, Norwell, Bishop Lours, and Columbus North. I'm not sure how the divisions are going to be split. I did look at the past couple years of this competition, and normally they have a large mixed, small mixed, large treble, and small treble division, and then they do not do finals. Normally it's a one and done. So, I mean, I have to believe that it's the same for this year, but I'm not super sure just because nothing is official yet. Nothing's posted. Unfortunately, I do post my podcast on Sundays, which, I mean, it's great for people that want to listen as soon as, like, the competition weekend's over, but it's unfortunate because I don't always have all the information, just because, I mean, I can scour Facebook and showchoir.com, but it's really hard to find like lineup information specifically until it's sent out to all the directors, which is normally done a week or 2 in advance. So if it's not sent out until Monday, then there's just no way for me to have that information, you know? So it kind of sucks sometimes, but you know, it's all right. Hopefully the information comes out tomorrow or Tuesday. But I'm just not sure yet. Of the groups attending that we know of, I do think that Grand Champion's probably going to go to North Central, just because they are one of the only large division groups here. Lawrence North is another one that I could see taking second. But yeah, since there's not a ton of information about this competition, I'm just not super sure. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Mooresville Spotlighter Invitational. So, Mooresville is going to be taking 4 treble and 5 mixed finalists. So, in the large treble division, we're going to have Castle Night Sensations, Pike Encores, and Avon Accents. Then in the medium mixed division, we're going to have Danville Community Varsity Voices, Monrovia Shooting Stars, Lebanon Charisma, Fairfield Fusion, East Noble Night Rhythm, and New Palestine Crimson Heat. Then in the small mixed division, there's going to be Indian Creek Rhythmaires. Then in the large treble division, there's going to be Castle Nightingales, Pike Mystiques, and Avon Attraction. And then in the small treble division, there's going to be New Prairie Sing Sensation, East Noble Premier Edition, and New Palestine Diamond Sensations. So at this competition, it's a lot of small schools. It's mainly small school. But I think this is a cool opportunity for some of the smaller groups that maybe don't normally get to compete in finals to get an opportunity, I guess. But I do think that Grand Champion's probably going to go to Avon just because their season has been going really well so far. They've been placing well. And just of the groups here, I think that Avon has a pretty good shot of taking that Grand Championship. So the final fourth competition in Indiana this weekend is the Franklin Central Hoosier Show Choir Classic. So this is a 2-day event. They're having I believe it is the small divisions go on Friday night. So I'm going to go ahead and read you guys those. But then on Saturday, they're having the large divisions go, as well as the super small treble division. And then they are going to be taking finalists. They're taking 3 large treble finalists and 4 large mixed finalists. So like I said, though, I'm going to go ahead and start with Friday night, which is the small mixed and the medium treble. So in small mix, they're going to have Batesville Singers, New Palestine Crimson Heat, Pendleton Heights Pendletones, Newcastle Red Hot Blues, Roncalli Royal Rhapsody, and Warren Central Connection. Then in the medium treble division, they're going to have New Palestine Diamond Sensations, Warren Central Highlights, Pendleton Heights Emerald Suites, and Newcastle Dynamics. And then on Saturday, because Friday they're not doing finals, it's just one and done. On Saturday, in the large mixed division, they're going to have Lawrence Central Sound, Robert C. Byrd Vocal Intensity, Plainfield Ballet Bow, Brownsburg Spotlight Singers and Company, Carmel Ambassadors, and Fisher's Electrum. Then in the large treble division, they're going to be having Lawrence Central Suites, Plainfield Femme Fatale, Brownsburg Starlight Voices, Carmel Accents, and Fisher's Sound. And then in the small treble division, they're going to be having Plainfield Vogue, Whiteland Community Iridescence, Brownsburg Bella Voce, and Fisher's Accents. And then in the prep division, they're going to have Ben Davis 9th Grade Center Preview and Carmel New Edition. So this is the biggest competition of the weekend, and they are also one of the competitions having finals. I mean, of the competitions, 3 of the 4 are having finals this weekend. So that's another cool opportunity for a lot of groups. But I would say this is probably the most stacked competition of the weekend, just because we've got groups like Plainfield and Brownsburg and Carmel and Fishers, and we've also got Roncalli and Pendleton. I think it's definitely a competition to look out for, just because a lot of the bigger named schools attend. I mean, normally Franklin Central is able to draw in a lot of bigger names just because it's a bigger name itself, so it makes sense. I do think that Grand Champion is going to go to Carmel just because they've been having a great year, like I said. Plainfield, Brownsburg, and Fishers are probably also going to place pretty well. They are taking, like I said, 4 large mixed finalists. So if I had to guess, it's probably going to be Plainfield, Brownsburg, Carmel, and Fishers. So I just think that's how it's going to shake out. But other than that, I mean, there's not a ton of crazy stuff happening. I mean, I think Carmel is a pretty clear winner at this competition, but I'm not super sure. But yeah, that's basically it for this weekend. So that is all I have for you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I mean, I always tell you guys this, but it really does mean the world. As you can tell, today was a video podcast. I mean, we're through the whole episode, so you've probably noticed. But I do try to do these every now and then, just because I think it's cool to see the person that's talking. And I think it's a little bit fun to like finally be on video instead of just like talking into my mic like this, So but other than that, this week is kind of slightly tapering out the end of the competition season. I mean, it's quickly approaching. We're almost into March. I mean, it's crazy thinking how the season has went by so quickly. I am hoping to possibly pop into Franklin Central this weekend. If I do, it's probably just gonna be for finals or for the very end of the day show, just because I do have an event in the morning on Saturday, but I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm able to be there for a little bit, just because I think there are definitely some really fun groups that I haven't gotten to see yet there. But yeah, that's basically it for this episode. Make sure that you guys follow the YouTube account, let your friends know to go ahead and listen there. If they don't have Spotify or they don't use Spotify to listen to podcasts or music, then it's available there. Last week's episode is not up yet because the software that I use, this is like really random, but the software that I use to edit the logo of the podcast over top of the audio will not allow me to upload an audio of that length because it was over an hour. So I'm currently trying to figure out how to fix that. But once I get that figured out, I'll be able to upload it to YouTube. Hopefully I'll be able to pretty easily upload it, just because I don't have to put it into an editing software. I can just upload the file. You guys don't care about this. This is just like tech stuff that I do on my end. But no. Hopefully I'll be able to get next week's episode up soon enough. But yeah, with that, I mean, I think that's basically everything. If you guys want to reach out or leave a comment on the episode, let me know. I'm always down to talk about anything specific. I mean, as we get near the end, if there's like a rankings that you want to see me do. I mean, I know that the past couple years I've always done like a ranking of like the best shows. So like competitively, if they were to compete, like the best groups, or like my favorite shows of the season, shows that I've seen, stuff like that. I mean, I'm always open to do that. It's really fun. Just let me know. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm so happy that you guys tune into this every week. I mean, it really means the world. Truly, it does. And with that, I hope your week is filled with show choir.